All right, we're here with Texas Attorney General Gregg Abbott. Laura Ingraham would like to know what you think of the gun case before the Supreme Court, and what kind of changes that would make to laws across the country if it goes your way.
This is one of the most important cases involving the Bill of Rights that have come up in the past couple of decades. It's kind of interesting because most Americans believe they have a Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. But that's not what the United States Court of Appeals said. The Court of Appeals in this case said that the Second Amendment rights were limited by states and municipalities who could put restrictions on those rights. This case that will be decided by the Supreme Court, McDonald versus Chicago, will decide whether or not the Second Amendment applies to states and municipalities the same way it does in the federal government.
And you authored a brief for this case together with 37 other attorney generals. What kind of Democratic support have you gotten? Is this a bipartisan effort, or?
I authored a brief that I submitted to the United States Supreme Court. Well, I took the lead on behalf of 38 states across the country. These 38 states represent Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, and even liberals, who all agree on one thing, and that is that the Second Amendment provides rights that are worthy of protection, and that they should be incorporated against the states and municipalities through the 14th Amendment, because the Second Amendment rights are fundamental rights, and that's something upon which 38 states across the country agree.
And you've also taken the lead on the issue of ObamaCare and the EPA's carbon dioxide regulation. What kind of support have you seen for those measures, and how do you see those playing out in the near future?
We are currently involved in two other challenges concerning the federal government. One concerns the massive health care bill that's coming down the pike. We've laid out an analysis about why the individual mandate of the health care bill violates the Constitution. It's premised upon the Commerce Clause. The Commerce Clause has never gone so far as to require Americans to actually purchase a good or service. And we've warned Washington that if this bill is passed with the individual mandate included in it, that we will be bringing litigation because this goes beyond the bounds of the congressional authority that is behind the passage of this bill. Another lawsuit that we filed 2 weeks ago is a lawsuit against the EPA because of its endangerment finding. We are calling out the EPA for process-based issues. We're not questioning the science. We are questioning the process they use to reach their conclusion that carbon dioxide is an endangerment. And there's a very simple reason why we're making that call, and that's because the IPCC, a UN-based organization that provided the aggregation of most of the information that the EPA relied upon, has been proven to rely upon scientifically flawed data and analysis, including scientific papers that question global warming that were excluded from the report, and also including scientific papers that were included that contained faulty analysis, such as the fact or allegation that the glaciers in the Himalayas were melting, when in reality that turned out to be false. That's just one of countless errors contained in the paper that was provided to the EPA, that the EPA relied upon in concluding that carbon dioxide was an endangerment. So we filed a lawsuit as well as a petition for reconsideration of their endangerment finding conclusion, seeking that they open that process back up so that when they're making a $1 trillion decision, Americans can know that it's based upon factually correct information instead of these false pieces of information that have come to light so far.
All right, and just lastly, real quick, these are issues that many of Laura's listeners care about deeply. What can the average person do to kind of join you in your efforts?
Americans across the country are already rising up and voicing their concerns about government expanding too much, reaching into their lives too much. They need to let their congressmen know, they need to let their local attorney general know that they expect action to be taken to prevent this overreaching by federal government.